Hello, flower friends. Floral frogs are a floral designer's best kept secret. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use a flower frog to make a really cool low bowl arrangement. My name's Ellen Frost. I'm building a community of flower nerds online by sharing knowledge and creating connections. If you're a flower nerd, subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link is in the description. So you've probably seen a flower frog before, but you may not be sure what exactly you're supposed to do with it. So a flower frog is a mechanic, and a mechanic is any tool that you use to keep flowers in place. They come in all different shapes and sizes. So this is called a pin frog, and this has very sharp, pointy pins, and this is designed to let you put flowers in straight up and down. There are other styles like this one here. This is a hairpin frog. You can see that the pins are different, and what this allows you to do is to put flowers in at an angle. So these hairpin frogs are great if you're trying to make a wider design. Now these aren't the only two. There are old-fashioned flower frogs, antique flower frogs that are made out of glass. There's some that are made out of ceramics. There are also metal cages which act in the same way as a flower frog. It allows you to put your stems in and they're held in place. Frogs can also come in different shapes. You can have round, oval. This is a long rectangular one. This is great for a long, low vase. You can even have frogs that have their own water source. So while this is a pin frog, it has a little vase around it so that you can add water to it and have it be its own vase. So flower frogs come in lots of different shapes and sizes, but they all do the same thing generally, which is to hold your flowers in place. So today we're going to make a low bowl arrangement with a floral frog. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your bowl is totally clean and dry. You cannot adhere a floral frog to a wet surface. It has to be completely dry. Now there are lots of ways to adhere frogs. Today I'm going to be using just regular plumber's putty that you get at a hardware store. So I'm going to take my frog out and I'm going to take my plumber's putty and I'm just going to warm it up and I'm going to put it along the perimeter of the frog so there's no way that water can get between the frog and the vase. And your pins, these are very sharp. So as you are pressing it into the vase, you might want to use something like a towel to really stick it. And then you should be able to lift your vase once the frog is adhered. So I'm going to fill my low bowl up with water. And I'm just filling it enough so that all of the stems will be in water once they're inside the frog. So I'm going to start with foliage like I do with most of my arrangements. I'm going to be using some 9 bark today. This is a really beautiful 9 bark that has a lot of orange and pink and green colors in it. And when you're placing your stems inside your pin frog, you do want to make sure that you have a nice, sharp, angled cut that will help the stem hit the floral pins in a way that they really hold tight in the design. And you can see I'm just placing my stems in. They're nice and secure. They're not going to tip over. There's no falling over. So once I've got my foliage in, the next thing I'm going to put in is a line flower. So today I'm going to be using, this is foxglove, and I love foxglove. It has these beautiful bell-shaped flowers, and it has, if you look very carefully, some little like polka dots on the inside that are really cool. And they pair perfectly with this 9 bark. So I'm making sure that my stems are nice and clean, and I'm giving them a nice fresh cut so that they can go into my frog nice and easily. So the idea around this design is to vary the sizes of each of your stems to create one cohesive look in your design. And you're really going to embrace, even though I know that this is hard for some people, you're going to embrace negative space. And all of your stems don't have to be in straight up and down. You can put them in at an angle. You just have to make sure that those stems are really inside the pin. Next, I'm going to put in a focal flower, and I'm going to be using some garden roses. You can see these garden roses are so beautiful, but their heads are a little bit heavy. Their stems are not that strong, and the head is a little droopy. So I want to just put a little piece of wire in this to boost the head up. I'm going to stick this right through the center of the flower. So it doesn't hurt the flower at all. It doesn't reduce the vase life at all. I'm just going to stick that through so that it's coming out the bottom of the flower just by a little bit. And then I'm going to take my wire cutters. Don't use your regular clippers. Always use a wire cutter on wire. I'm just going to trim that off of the top. And you can see now that what that's done is allowed the stem to stand up a little straighter. And you can see now that I have a very upright stem to put into my design. And then I'm going to do the same with these other two roses that I have. One thing you notice that because I'm using two focal flowers on this side, I have made sure to vary the heights so that they're not at the same height. And I have turned this one a little bit away from this one so that you're not getting what I call the eyeball effect, which is two focal flowers pointing right at you. So you can just make sure that you turn one of them so that their head is a little bit off to the side so that they're not competing for your attention. Next thing I'm going to put in is a secondary focal. So again, these are the things that I use in all of my designs, and that is going to be a Renunculus. So a Renunculus is like a beautiful spring flower, but it takes sort of backseat to a rose. So I'm going to put a couple of these in. And I do have a few little peony buds. So these are actually the side shoots of peonies that were very closed and tight. We just ripped them off, cut them off, the sides of the peonies that we were using for design, and we stuck them in a little jar, and we've been letting them open for a couple of days. And so you can really, they will continue to open. So these are great for an arrangement like this because they're already pretty short, and I'm going to keep them nice and short in my design. I'm going to tuck them right here down low. Next, I'm going to use a filler flower. So I always use filler flowers in varying degrees in my designs. This time of year, it's great because we have yarrow. This is cottage yarrow, and it comes in loads of different colors. You can see here I've got sort of a peach and a pink and a yellow. These come in tons of colors. So it's great for a design like this that has all of those colors in it. It's kind of a bridge flower that connects all of these flowers together. So I'm going to make sure they're nice and clean. And then I'm just going to use these to fill in a little bit between the blooms. So that's what filler flowers do, fill in between the blooms. All right, lastly, I'm going to put in what I like to call bits and pieces. This is Scoop Scabiosa. It's back in season. This is our first week for it. And I love using Scoop Scabiosa. You can see it is just like the most unique bloom. And I want to make sure that this really stands out in my design. So I'm going to let it be tall, floating above my design right here. And I'm going to do a similar thing over here, just making sure that it's not being crowded out or hidden. And I always do like to use things in threes, so I'm going to use 3 of these Scoop Scabiosa. All right, so there you have it. This is a low bowl arrangement with local flowers using a pin frog. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to my channel, and if you're a real flower nerd, subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. There's a link in the description.